Let's get right into it. We need to talk about this huge, kind of weird paradox at the very heart of the AI revolution. You see, the same systems that learned from the incredible collaborative knowledge of the internet are now, well, they're kind of eating it from the inside out.
And look, this isn't just some fringe conspiracy theory anymore. When Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, comes out and says that the dead internet theory is basically right, you gotta stop and pay attention. It really sets the stage for the massive, massive shift that we're all living through.
So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, take a look at Stack Overflow. For decades, it's been the go-to knowledge base for anyone who codes. Since 2023, the number of questions being asked has dropped by a staggering 78%. The whole human-to-human sharing that built the place, it's just getting bypassed.
And it's not just some niche corner of the internet. Think about Chegg, the homework help site millions of students relied on. Since ChatGPT came out, its stock price has plummeted 99%. I mean, that's a near total wipeout. Why? Because users are just going straight to the AI for answers now.
This is hitting the wider web too. Big publishers all over the world, they've lost about a third of their search traffic. That's because AI summaries are intercepting people's questions. You get your answer from the AI, and you never actually click through to the original article. The whole reason to create that content in the first place is just disappearing.
So here's the crucial thing to understand. We're not just talking about a few websites losing a bit of traffic. No. What we're witnessing is the rapid hollowing out of the entire ecosystem that generates and shares human knowledge online.
And let's not forget how amazing that ecosystem was. For decades, the internet was this incredible, unprecedented project. Real people sharing what they knew for real reasons, whether it was for reputation, for their careers, or just because they were passionate. It created this huge, diverse ocean of information that was absolutely invaluable.
So how on earth did this beautiful system break? Well, the problem is that AI didn't just join the party. It fundamentally shattered the social and economic rules of how we create and find knowledge online. It broke the cycle.
I mean, the contrast is just so stark. It used to be this really healthy, virtuous cycle, right? A person shares their knowledge, the platform hosting it grows, and the creator gets rewarded with traffic or reputation. It just worked. But now, AI just scrapes all that hard work, spits out an instant answer, and completely cuts out both the platform and the human who made the information in the first place. The loop is totally severed.
And this right here, this is the core issue. Decades of human collaboration, of arguments, of creativity, it was all essentially harvested by AI companies. The entire web was turned into a free, all-you-can-eat buffet of training data, a resource that was just taken, with nothing put back in. This whole self-consuming cycle is so new and so weird that researchers are having to invent brand new scientific terms just to describe what's going on. This isn't just a business problem anymore. It's a deep, systemic one.
Okay, so the first key term you need to know is model collapse. This is what researchers, including some at Oxford, have identified. Basically, when an AI learns from content made by another AI, its own outputs get more and more generic, more repetitive, and just less interesting with each generation. All the weird, creative, and novel ideas, they just get smoothed out and lost.
Then, researchers at Rice University came up with an even more powerful term, model autophagy disorder, or MAD for short. And that medical analogy is completely intentional. Autophagy is the process where a starving cell starts to eat itself to survive. They're saying these AI systems are, in a very real way, consuming themselves. This is maybe the absolute best way to picture it. Every time an AI learns from another AI, it's like making a copy of a copy. You know how that goes, right? The sharp edges, the little details, the very things that make the original special, they all start to fade, generation after generation, until all you have left is a blurry, unrecognizable mess. It's the perfect modern-day Ouroboros, that ancient symbol of a snake eating its own tail. It's a powerful metaphor for this recursive, self-destructive loop. AI feasted on human knowledge to get smart, and now it's consuming the very sources of that knowledge, leaving it with nothing left to eat but itself.
So if this cycle just keeps going, what does the future of information even look like? Well, according to a lot of researchers, the long-term prognosis is pretty concerning.
Just look at these two trends on a collision course. On the one hand, the amount of AI-generated synthetic content out there is exploding exponentially. On the other, some projections show we could run out of high-quality human text data to train on by as early as 2028. That means future AIs will have no choice but to train on data that's already been contaminated by other AIs.
And this table just lays out exactly what we stand to lose. With human knowledge, you get diversity, creativity, weird edge cases, and genuinely new insights, but the result of model collapse? You get stuff that's statistically average, bland, repetitive. The AI becomes fantastic at remixing old information, but it can't create anything truly new.
This all leads to a really chilling possibility called epistemic stagnation. Just imagine a world where AI is everywhere and its answers sound super confident and fluent, but it's all just a giant hall of mirrors. We're just endlessly recombining a pool of old knowledge that's getting staler and staler, with nothing new ever being added to the mix.
And the social fallout from this could be a brand new kind of information divide. You might have people who know where to look and can't afford to pay for things like Substack newsletters or private communities to get authentic human perspectives. But everyone else, relying on the free default AI tools, they just get the degraded synthetic version. Real knowledge could actually become a luxury good.
So, is this dystopian future just inevitable? Or is there actually a way out of this self-eating loop? Let's wrap up by looking at some of the arguments for maybe some cautious optimism. Okay, so there are a few counter-arguments. Some people believe a synthetic data revolution is coming that'll let AIs train themselves without ever needing human data. Others will point to history and say, hey, Wikipedia replaced Britannica. New platforms will always emerge. And we are seeing markets adapt with things like paywalls and licensing deals.
But here's the massive counterpoint to all that optimism: speed. Stack Overflow took 15 years to build. It was hollowed out in less than 3. Chegg went from being a market leader to basically bankrupt in 18 months. Disruptions in the past happened over decades, which gave society time to adjust. This is all happening in months.
And that leaves us with this final central question. The internet as we know it was built on a simple, beautiful idea: humans sharing what they knew. So what happens to our world of knowledge when the very systems that were trained on all that sharing make the act of sharing itself unsustainable? For now, that's a question only humans can answer.